It's not easy to get one of your relatives to do the reading, so I want to be really grateful for that. And I want to thank Gary Lynn Floyd, Karen Drucker, and the Chariot Duo, as well as our CSL music team, for the wonderful music today. As we continue on this journey through the untethered soul, we begin the discussion on part 5, Living Life. And it's the final section of our series book, but today we're concentrating on chapters 15 and 16, the path of unconditional happiness and the spiritual path of non-resistance. In these sections, Singer emphasizes the importance of embracing the present moment as the doorway to inner peace and liberation. He invites us to decide if we want to be happy and to anchor ourselves in the richness of the present experience rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. But first, let me give you your question for the week. What is the one choice you can make today to choose to be happy? To quit resisting what has already happened or what might happen, and to embrace only what is happening now. One more time. What is that one choice you can make today to choose to be happy? To quit resisting what has already happened or what might happen, and to embrace only what is happening now. In chapter 15, The Path of Unconditional Happiness, Singer offers profound insights into how to choose to be happy. As you heard in today's reading, to begin with, you have to realize that you really only have one choice in this life. Do you want to be happy or do you not want to be happy? It's really that simple. Now, while Singer says it's really that simple, he spends an entire chapter explaining how to go about making that choice. For most of us, it is not so simple. We want to be happy, sure, and yet we place our happiness in the hands of other people doing something we think we need of them or in situations occurring that are not within our control. And there you have it, that word control. Hey, I'm right there with you. I love to be in control of my life. And the truth is, no matter how great a planner we are, or how fabulous a spreadsheet we make up to show us the events to take place over our next week, our next month, or our next year, or no matter how meticulous we are about keeping our calendar updated, things happen. And when something happens that we didn't expect, we then have a choice: accept what is and be happy, or resist what happened and make ourselves unhappy. Okay, so we all sometimes choose to cause ourselves to suffer when our expectations about an event or a person are not met. And unconditional happiness, that innate state of joy and contentment that arises from within, truly is independent of external conditions. True happiness is not dependent on achieving specific outcomes or acquiring external possessions. It's rather a state of being that emerges when we cultivate inner peace and contentment. And when we shift our focus inward, we find that lasting happiness lies in cultivating a deep sense of inner fulfillment that transcends the ups and downs of life. Singer cautions us about being wishy-washy in our commitment to happiness when he says this: committing yourself to unconditional happiness will teach you every single thing there is to learn about yourself, about others, and about the nature of life. You will learn all about your mind, your heart, and your will. But you have to mean it when you say that you'll be happy for the rest of your life. every time a part of you begins to get unhappy, let it go. Singer's chapter on happiness reminds us happiness is always within our reach, as long as we don't attach conditions to it. If we commit to being happy regardless of what happens, we're making an inner breakthrough to complete freedom. And if we can hold on to that commitment when markets crash, or when people reject us, or when we suffer catastrophic loss, such as someone we deeply love moving away or having their heaven birthday, we can find true spirituality. Part of being happy is letting go of the part of us that finds reasons to be unhappy. Imagine if we just decided to commit to enjoy life, to learn from and have fun with whatever life throws our way, and to be happy every moment of every day. Everyday happiness does come from a commitment to keep our hearts open, to let go of anger and jealousy and envy and other negative energies the moment they start piling up. It takes observation, catching ourselves closing, noticing the negative energies, and reminding ourselves that thoughts and emotions are not who we are. And as we probably all know, happiness truly has to do with how we look at life. I love the part of the book where Singer talks about pretending we're God and then going down to check on our humans. Here's what he said. God asked the first human, "How you doing?" The human says, "What do you mean how I'm doing?" And God says, "Well, do you like it here?" The human, "No, I don't like it here." And God says, "Why not? What's wrong?" The human says, "That tree is bent in 5 places and I want it to be straight. This person went out with somebody else, and that person ran up $100 phone bill. This person has a nicer car than mine, and that person dresses funny. It's just terrible. Plus, my nose is too big, my ears are too small, and my toes are weird. I'm not happy with it. I don't like any of it." So God says, "Well, how about the animals? The animals, the ants and mosquitoes bite you. It's a terrible thing. I can't go out at night because there are all these animals out there. They howl and poop all over the place, and I just don't like it." Singer then writes, "Do you think God likes it?" And he talks about that. And then God says, "What do you think? I'm a complaint department?" So then God decides to visit somebody else. And he asks again, "How are you doing?" This human says, "I'm ecstatic." And God says, "Wow, well, how do you like things?" "They're beautiful. Everything I look at just creates waves of joy inside of me. I look at that bent tree, it just blows me away. The ant comes and bites me, and it's just so amazing that a tiny ant could be brave enough to bite a giant like me." I don't know about you, but my takeaway from that story is this. Those two people lived in the same world. One is unhappy and another is ecstatic, all because of how they look at things. Singer wrote, "God is as high as it gets. If you want to be close to God, learn to be joyful. If you remain spontaneously happy and centered, no matter what happens, you will find God." That's the amazing part. Yes, you will find happiness, but that's nothing compared to what you're really going to find. The joy becomes overwhelming and your cup runneth over. When I read those words, it struck me. True happiness does have us feeling our cup is runneth over with joy, does it not? And it does take us consistently choosing to be happy. I know it shouldn't be a hard choice. Sometimes I think we forget that our Father, Spirit, Guide, the Divine, whatever name you call it, does want only our best, always and in all ways. Lesson 292 of Course in Miracles reminds us a happy outcome to all things is sure. God's promises make no exceptions, and He guarantees that only joy can be the final outcome found for everything. Yet it is up to us when this is reached. Help us not interfere and so delay the happy ending. I do wish that I were not so good sometimes at interfering with that happy ending. Anyone else want to join me in that? How do I interfere? Resisting what is. I really need 100% of the time to quit resisting what's happened or what might happen. Really, if something has already happened, why would I want it to steal my happiness or my peace? Reflect on the ways in which you may claim to control and the impact it has on your ability to experience joy and contentment. Just think about the last time that you resisted an event that occurred or something that someone said. Were you happy in that moment? Of course not. I bet you were thinking of why that event should not have happened or why they should say something that is, in your reality, so way out of alignment with the truth, right? We all do it. Even in little ways, we do it. For example, I was thinking the other day, why did I come to the store at this time? The lines to check out are so long. Or why did that person go to the self checkout line when they obviously have no idea what they're doing? We all have those judgments that cross our minds. The trick is, do we allow them to pass through or do we hold on to them and allow them to steal our peace and happiness? Once again, it is a choice. That choice is the process of relinquishing control and surrendering to the flow of life. Life in resistance or in non resistance, going with the flow or being unhappy. Singer suggests that true happiness arises when we cease to resist the unfolding of life and instead surrender to the inherent wisdom of existence. Do we truly believe in divine order or not? I know I do, even if I don't always act that way. It might help to remind ourselves that stress, anxiety, and tension are manifestations of a mind that resists the reality of life. When you react to things that have already happened, what you're actually resisting are the mental impressions that the experience is leaving on you. In this sense, you're in conflict with yourself, not with the situation. And who wants to be in conflict with yourself? Resistance blocks energy flows and weighs you down. If these energy flows are blocked for too long, they undermine your ability to deal with future events. When you are present to the now, when all you do is observe and experience life as it unfolds, you experience peace. You can learn to stop resisting and blocking your energy flows by watching your self-concept when it expresses a dislike for something. You do have the ability to will yourself to relax and let the impressions created by a situation pass through before you decide to deal with it. Let acceptance precede action. Then you gain the clarity that enables you to deal with the situation and not with the impressions it cues up. Acceptance allows you to channel the energy that would have been spent in dealing with fear and desire to dealing with the actual situation much more calmly. And dealing with situations would be so much easier if we just remembered lesson 166 of A Course in Miracles that teaches us this: I am entrusted with the gifts of God. All things are given you. God's trust in you is limitless. He knows his son. He gives without exception, holding nothing back that can contribute to your happiness. Look at that last line, holding nothing back that can contribute to our happiness. Imagine if we trusted those words to be the truth. I know they are, and I still occasionally forget to live in acceptance of what is in my life. Sometimes I guess we all want a bit of melodrama in our lives, or perhaps a bit of time for a pity party. My mom used to tell me to take a few minutes and have a pity party. And there's no guilt if that happens. Accept it and move on. We know true happiness arises when we release our attachment to drama and surrender to the simplicity and beauty of the present moment. And then we are truly living lesson 290 of the Course in Miracles. My present happiness is all I see. Unless I look upon what is not there, my present happiness is all I see. Now that is a lesson to live by. And in doing that, in seeing and choosing happiness, we cultivate practices of surrender, acceptance, and trust in divine order in the unfolding of life. In the reading today of chapter 16, you heard this: stress only happens when we resist life's events. If you neither pushing life away nor pulling it towards you, then you are not creating any resistance. You are simply present. In this state, you are just witnessing and experiencing the events of life taking place. With these words, Singer truly defines the concept of non-resistance, the practice of surrendering to the present moment and accepting life as it unfolds without resistance or judgment. He invites us to recognize that resistance to the present moment only creates suffering and prolongs our experience of pain and discomfort. And these words in the same chapter truly explain how we often choose resistance. It's not difficult to see the tendency towards stress and resistance in daily life. But if we want to understand this tendency, we must first examine why we are so resistant to just letting life be life. What is it inside of us that even has the ability to resist the reality of life? If you look carefully inside yourself, you would see that it's you, the self, the indwelling being that has this power. It's called willpower. Just for a moment, reflect on your own relationship with resistance and the ways in which it may manifest in your life. Singer suggests that true liberation arises when we cease to resist the circumstances of our lives and instead embrace them with open hearts and minds. It's so true that the ultimate liberation arises when we release our resistance to the present moment and open ourselves to the infinite possibilities of life. So, as we continue on our journey to an untethered soul, let's embrace openness, acceptance, surrender, living in the presence, knowing that true peace and contentment arise when we choose happiness in all things, and when we align ourselves with the wisdom of the present moment and embrace the path of non-resistance. So, in summary, how might you always choose happiness and non resistance? Well, choose to be happy. Commit yourself to unconditional happiness. And do not attach conditions or actions of others to your happiness. And quit resisting the past and the future. Just surrender to the flow of life, whatever it happens to be. Truly believe and trust in divine order. And embrace acceptance and surrender. Let acceptance precede action and align with the wisdom of the present moment. And choose a path of non resistance. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so willingly, energetically, and effortlessly choose to be happy? Quit resisting what has already happened or what might happen, and embrace only what is happening now. And your challenge for the week? Make a conscious choice this week to choose to be happy and to live in non resistance. Find a way each day to notice your level of peace and happiness and what is contributing to it. Let's pray. Oh, we take a deep, nourishing breath. And we just settle into that place within us where we feel true happiness, where we know that we savor those moments of joy and love and peace and freedom. And what I know to be the truth is each of us can choose to have that every minute of every day. And it takes a commitment to accepting and surrendering to what is, to having faith that whatever's showing up in our lives is there for a reason. And so, what I know is that this week we are becoming much more aware of when we choose happiness, when we choose non resistance, and when we resist and choose to have ourselves feel some pain or a little bit of suffering. And it's all okay. I am so grateful for this community. I'm so grateful for these wonderful words of Singer in his book and the lessons that they can teach. And it's from that gratitude that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action, knowing that the divine has already said yes. So I just say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is. And I am so grateful to everybody that continues to donate. We are continuing to look for a place to start having some in-person services, and we will let you know when that is happening. In the meantime, thank you for your contributions that are helping us with that. Enjoy our offertory song.